Hello and welcome to the Expertly German Podcast. Hallo und willkommen zum Expertly German Podcast. Today is a special episode because I am teaching Luise German and I hope you benefit from that as well.
Hi everyone, I'm really excited to be here for this podcast and learn a little bit of German. Hopefully in the process I could do with some help. I'm probably going to make a million mistakes, but luckily Tom is going to gently nudge me in the right direction for the session today. So yeah, good to be here.
Cool, all right, let's do it. And to get the most out of this, I would suggest you to download this transcript so you can much easier follow what we are talking about. I put this transcript as a PDF document in there. So basically it's slides that you can use to follow our conversation. Just click on the link, buymeacoffee.com, which I put in the show notes, and then you will see there you can buy it for €1, which is also helpful for us to continue to do this podcast. The topic that I picked today that I want to teach you, Luise, is the topic of conjunctions or connector words. Do you have any idea what that is? Hast du irgendeine Idee, was das sein könnte?
In English or German?
You can also speak in Chinese if you want.
Okay, great. So my guess would be from English that those are the joiner words like and so on in a sentence.
Okay, you probably just looked at the PowerPoint presentation that I just showed you.
I don't know how to say that in German though. Ich glaube, sie sind die Worten.
Die Wörter.
Die Wörter. Wie und so.
Ja, also wie und. Well, let's take a look at it. We have 3 types of connector words. We have conjunctions, subjunctions, and conjunctive adverbs. Or in German, it's actually Konjunktionen, Subjunktionen, and Konditionaladverbien. And as you pointed out correctly, those are the words like und. So let's look at the first group, the Konjunktionen, the conjunctions. Can you just read all of them?
Okay, so we've got und, aber, oder, sondern, doch, and then.
Yes, exactly. And so they're all pretty common, I would say.
The ones that are new for me is sondern, so like but rather, and I can't think of a sentence where I would probably say that so much in English, but that's really helpful. And doch, I think I would have not guessed that meant but.
Yeah, well, they are quite similar, aber and doch. There are slight differences, but in general, aber and doch you can be used interchangeably. So, well, let's look into those. But before we do that, I would like to teach you a little bit about the syntax or the word order. For this one, it's actually quite easy. So we have a sentence like, ich trinke ein Glas Wein und ich schreibe einen Brief. I drink a glass of wine and I write a letter. So here we have the subject, the verb, and the object, then the connector word und then we have again the subject, the conjugated verb, and then the object or the rest, which is quite straightforward. But later on for the subjunctions and the conjunctive adverbs, that will change. So this is quite straightforward. So here I have a sentence, ich muss Steuern zahlen und ich muss die Regeln befolgen. Do you have any idea what that could mean?
No. I know very well Steuer is tax.
Yes.
Living in Berlin, that is one I came to learn quick. So I must zahlen. So I'm guessing that is I must like register my tax.
No, that is to pay. Zahlen is to
bezahlen, yeah. I must pay my tax.
Yeah, exactly. So exactly, I have like muss is a modal verb. So muss means have to. Ich muss Steuern zahlen. I could also say ich muss die Steuern zahlen. So if I would say the article in front or dot, that it both works fine. So muss means have to. So ich muss Steuern zahlen is I have to pay tax. And then und ich muss die Regeln befolgen. What does that mean?
I know ich muss. Yes. Regeln.
Can you try Regeln rather than Regeln?
Regeln?
Yeah, that's better. You use your throat rather than your tongue. Like, because you're from England, you tend to say the R like Regeln, something like that, but we use more the throat, Regeln. Ich muss die Regeln befolgen.
Regeln.
Yes.
Befolgen.
Befolgen.
Oh,
And
man.
befolgen is to follow. But in this case, like to
so
follow
I
the
must
rule.
follow the rules.
Yes,
Okay.
exactly. So, ich muss Steuern zahlen und ich muss die Regeln befolgen. And I have to follow the rules. And you can also turn it the other way around. I can say, ich muss die Regeln befolgen und ich muss die Steuern zahlen. Pretty simple, nothing very crazy there. Okay, and the next one we have is sondern. So here we have the sentence, ich mache keinen Urlaub. Komma, sondern ich gründe ein Unternehmen. Do you have an idea what that means?
So I think I know this one. Ich mache keinen Urlaub. I am not having a holiday.
Ja.
Sondern ich gründe.
Gründe. Ja.
Nicht Gründe.
Gründe, ja.
Ein Unternehmen. So because I'm founding a business?
Yes, exactly. And so the word sondern here, has the special feature that in the first part of the sentence, ich mache keinen Urlaub, that's a negation, eine Verneinung. And then sondern is we are using that when the first part is a negation and the second part then oftentimes kind of like is the opposite or what else we are doing instead. So here we have exactly as you said, I don't do holiday, instead I'm founding a company or I start a company.
Yeah. In England you'd say that, right? Like I'm not going to have a holiday, rather I'm going to do this.
Yeah. Or but rather, sondern you might translate it with but rather.
Cool, okay.
Yeah. And then another one of those conjunctions is ich habe viel Zeit, denn ich habe viele Angestellte. What does that mean?
So I know some of this. Ich habe viel Zeit. I have a lot of time because I have a lot of Angestellte. What's Angestellte? Okay.
Employees.
See, my experience is that when you have more employees, you have less time. But yeah, this sentence makes sense.
That's what most people actually say when I tell them
more
these
stress.
sentences.
More people, more stress. Ich habe viel Zeit, denn ich habe viele Angestellte.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. So Angestellte here is plural, and then just means because. And here again, you say ich habe viel Zeit. So ich is the subject, then habe is the conjugated verb, and viel Zeit is then the rest. And then we have denn, which is the conjunction word or the Konjunktion. And then we have ich, which is the subject, then habe, which is the conjugated verb. And then we have the rest of the sentence.
Yeah, so this works really well for me because sometimes moving the verbs around and so on gets a bit messy. So with this, in essence, the format is the same, and you are literally just putting a word in the middle.
Yes, exactly.
I can learn.
Yeah, exactly.
Good.
So that's the easiest one to start with. Okay, so now I have a little exercise for you. I tell you a sentence. I leave the conjunction word blank, and you have to pick the right answer. Okay, so ich gehe später zur Arbeit, blank, ich mache Sport. Do you have any idea what the sentence means?
Yes. Just took me a second. So ich gehe später zur Arbeit, denn ich mache Sport. Sport.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, so I'm going late to work because I am playing sport.
Yes, so which is the conjunction you use?
Den, because.
And that is correct. Exactly.
Thanks.
Yes, very good. So here we use the word denn ich gehe später zur Arbeit, denn ich mache Sport. Okay, so the conjunctions again that I had was und, aber, oder, sondern, doch, and denn. Und is n, aber is but, oder is or, those are pretty easy. Then sondern is but rather, the weird one that we just spoke about. Then doch, which is but, and denn, which is because. Yeah.
Sometimes you use something else with because. Like
Yes.
weil is
Yes,
sometimes...
that is a very good point. And weil is actually in the next group. So weil is in the weil, I almost said that word in English, is in the group of the subjunctions or Subjunktionen. And here we have the word weil. So it's pretty weird that we have two words that mean the same thing, but they're in different groups. For the whole exercise for the whole topic that we're looking at, that is not the only word where that is the case. There are a couple of words which are very, very similar. There are tiny nuances, and actually I have to look up those tiny nuances. I don't know all of them, but many of them are pretty similar. Okay, so here the special thing is that we have the connector word.
For subjunctions.
For the subjunctions, exactly. Then, so we have the first part of the sentence, then we have the connector word, then we have the subject, so far normal, but then we have the rest of the sentence, and then at the very end we have the conjugated verb. So instead of having first the subject, then the conjugated verb, and then the rest, as we had before, we take the conjugated verb and put it to the end.
So in that last sentence where we had the, I'm going late to work because I'm going to make sport, that's a really helpful one to swap around, right? Like, so, ich gehe später zur Arbeit, denn ich mache Sport.
Yes, and if you use weil, how would you say that then?
So if I was going to use weil, what you're saying is that the conjugated verb goes at the end. So would it be, ich gehe später zur Arbeit, weil... ich Sport machen?
Yes, mache.
Okay.
Mache, because you have to still conjugate machen for the pronoun ich.
Okay.
Ich mache.
That makes sense. So you just swap the order for the second format.
Exactly. That's pretty much what you do.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah. So here we kind of have exactly like another sentence. Basically, it's the same sentence or a similar sentence that we had before. Ich habe viel Zeit, weil ich viele Angestellte habe. Yeah, I have a lot of time because I have many employees. Earlier, I think we used denn for this example, and basically we just swap around the conjugated verb. Okay, then we have before. Again, guys, this is an incomplete list. I'm not going through all of the subjunctions in here, but a couple of them you can look up Subjunktionen or subjunctions for you to get a complete list of those. And then we have another subjunction which is before, which means pretty much the same like in English, before. Ich analysiere den Markt, bevor ich in ein Unternehmen investiere. What does that mean?
I analyze the market before I invest in a company.
Yes, exactly. Pretty much like that. Yeah. And which is here the conjugated verb?
Investiere.
Yeah. And in the same sentence, there is another conjugated verb. Can you see it?
How did you say analysiere?
Analysiere.
Analysiere.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So both of those are conjugated verbs.
Ich analysiere den Markt, bevor ich in ein Unternehmen investiere.
Ja, investiere.
Investiere.
Try it again. Investiere.
Investiere.
Yes, pretty much that. 80%, 90%.
Okay, I'll work on that.
Okay, so next one is obwohl. Obwohl means even though or although. Die Kennzahl stimmt nicht, obwohl ich sie richtig berechnet habe. What does that mean?
Great question. Die Kennzahl.
Always ask great questions.
Yeah. So I know Zahl is to do with payment, and Ken is it Kenner? Like I am no.
Die Kennzahl is something like the KPI or the metric.
Oh gosh, nothing to do with what I thought then.
Yes, so the metric is not correct. Stimmt nicht means is not right. Das stimmt nicht. That is not right. die Kennzahl stimmt nicht, the KPI or the metric is not correct, obwohl ich sie richtig berechnet habe. Berechnet is to calculate, richtig is correct. And so here we have actually a sentence that uses the present perfect, obwohl ich sie richtig berechnet habe.
So the KPI is not right, although I have calculated it correctly.
Yes, exactly. So, and here again we have habe as the conjugated verb at the end. Berechnet is also a verb, but this one is actually the past participle, which is important for the present perfect. We'll look at that maybe another time. But this one is the conjugated verb. How do you know that habe is the conjugated verb? Because you have to say ich habe, du hast, er hat. So you have to change the haben according to the pronoun, and that's how you know it's the conjugated verb. And now I have another question for you. Der Unternehmer, so the entrepreneur, the businessman, der Unternehmer hat keine Zeit, Komma, blank, er hat viele Termine. Er viele Termine hat, sorry. Again, der Unternehmer hat keine Zeit, blank, er viele Termine hat. So we have A, weil, B, before, or C, obwohl.
So I'm going to go with A, weil. So der Unternehmer hat keine Zeit, weil viele Termine hat.
Exactly. Yes.
The
correct.
businessman had no time because many appointments. He had many appointments.
Yes. No, not had. This is all in the present. Der Unternehmer hat keine Zeit. That means the entrepreneur has no time. Has no time because he has many appointments. Had would be a different time. Then it would be, der Unternehmer hatte keine Zeit, weil er viele Termine hatte. That would be the Präteritum. Or you say it in the present perfect. Der Unternehmer hat keine Zeit gehabt, weil er viele Termine gehabt hat. I know it sounds a little bit, a lot of
Okay.
habt, gehabt und so on.
Present tense.
Yeah, present tense. All right, cool. And then we have the last topic, the conjunctive adverbs. And I think we save that one for the next time. Okay, guys, so if you like this format, then somehow reach out to me, text me, or I can also just see this in the download numbers if people are liking this. And if that is the case, we will continue to do that. What do you think, Louise?
Sure thing.
All right, cool. Thank you very much for listening and learning, and please subscribe to the podcast. Also, please go to my website, expertlygerman.com, to find out more about the service that I'm offering. At the moment, I'm having a course that teaches you German. You can find it on my website, also on Udemy and Skillshare. There are also free ebooks on my website that you can learn, that you can use to learn German. And I'm also starting a speaking club. So go to my website and find out more about that. Thank you guys, and bis bald.